This weird-looking car is the Toyota Mark II Blit. The Blit was first introduced in 2002 to compete with various other station wagons such as the second-generation Nissan Stagea, Subaru Legacy, and various other mid-size station wagons available at that time. It was developed as a predecessor to the Toyota Mark II Qualis, returning back to its roots as a rear-wheel drive vehicle and also optionally offering all-wheel drive for those customers that wanted it. The Mark II Blit was built off the same platform as the X110 series Mark IIs. What's interesting about these two vehicles is that from the exterior, both of these cars really look quite dissimilar to each other. The only real similarities visually are the shared A, B, and C pillars. From a vehicle manufacturer's standpoint, you would expect the wagon version to share a lot of the same body panels as the sedan version, like that of the Accord wagon. When it comes to the power plant, both the 110s and the 110Ws share the same engine, either a 2-liter or 2.5-liter inline-6 with the option of a turbocharger for the top-end version. As for the interior, both cars are pretty much the same, having the same dash layout and trimmings. The only real difference is for the Blit, which is fairly obvious considering it's a wagon after all. Unfortunately, the Blit didn't last very long and ended production due to consolidation efforts. 3 years previously, the Toyota Mark X came out, and the plan was to replace all of Toyota's X-body sedans, including the Verosa, Chaser, Cresta, and Mark II. In mid-2007, production of the Blit was killed off, and in September 2007, the Blit's quote official unquote successor was unveiled. That car was the Mark X Geo, a front-engine, front-wheel drive minivan with the choice of a naturally aspirated 2.4-liter inline-4 or 3.5-liter V6. Now, let's take a look at some of the different trim levels that the Blit had to offer. Firstly, there was the 2.5 IRV, which was a 2.5-liter 1JZ turbocharged variant with rear-wheel drive pushing 276 horsepower. Next, there was the 2.5 IRS4 and 2.5 IRS, which were both naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 1JZs. However, the difference here was that the 2.5 IRS was a 1JZ FSE versus the 4's 1JZ GE. The FSE was a direct injected version with slightly better compression ratio. I'm not quite sure why the FSE never made it into the four-wheel drive version, but I'm guessing it has something to do with the compatibility of the all-wheel drive transmission. Because of the FSE's higher compression ratio and direct injection, the IRS saw a few more horsepower, 197 compared to IRS4's 193. Finally, the last two base level variants were the 2.0 IR4 and 2.0 IR. Both of these trim levels were equipped with 1G FE inline 6s, which had around 158 horsepower. What's really interesting about these trim levels is that Toyota never bothered to create a turbocharged four-wheel drive version. Considering that the Stagea had a 250T RS4, which was a VQ25 DET powered all-wheel drive vehicle, this seems like a missed opportunity from Toyota to compete for that market. There's also another trim level which isn't mentioned often and goes a little under the radar unless you know a thing or two about this vehicle. That variant is the IRV Fortuna Yamaha Power. I read somewhere that this version was tuned to about 325 horsepower and came with different aero than the other trims. It also had a different front grille, some Yamaha badging, and potentially different wheels than the other versions. If you're kind of wondering why this vehicle is the Yamaha version, the fact is that all JZ heads were co-developed by Yamaha with Toyota. The Blit was offered in 7 different colors, including black, white, silver, black cherry pearl, gold metallic, light aqua, and blue onyx pearl. From the data I can find, most Blits were painted in white, silver, and black, followed by blue onyx, black cherry, and light aqua. The rarest of the bunch was gold metallic, with only 0.1% of Blits being painted that color. 4.4% were painted blue onyx, 4% were painted black cherry, and 3% were painted light aqua. What's really cool is that black cherry pearl is still around 20 years later, as you can buy FJ Cruisers in that color. When it came to seat choices, there were 3 options: leather, black cloth, or gray cloth. Most of the dashes were black, but could potentially have a lower gray bottom half if gray cloth was selected. For wheel choices, there were 4 different wheel options. 5-spoke alloys, which fit a 215/45 R17 tire, 5-spoke alloys, which fit a 225/45 R17, 7-spoke alloys, which fit a 205/55 R16, or 6-spoke hubcaps, which fit a 195/65 R16. For transmissions, all these cars came with 4-speed autos and were never offered in a manual version. I don't get why they didn't offer this car with a manual, considering that the JZX110s were available with a 5-speed. Next, let's talk about optional upgrades. One optional upgrade was adding an aero package to your Blit. There were generally 2 types. The first version was the Aero Sports package, which came with a mesh front grille, a slightly different front and rear bumper, and thicker side skirts. Then there was the Advanced Sports package, which included quite different bumpers and side skirts, as well as a badgeless grille plate. This is what I love so much about Japanese cars, that the average consumer buying a car like this in Japan could just get a body kit for their car straight from the dealer. There were a lot of different editions of this car, including J Edition, Limited Edition, 35th Anniversary Edition, etc., etc., but on average, the MSRP for this car were as follows. For the 2.0 IR, the base cost was 2,480,000 yen, or in today's dollars, 2,658,000 yen, or 18,267 US dollars. For the base model IRS, the cost was 2,880,000 yen, or in today's dollars, 3,087,000 yen, or 21,214 US dollars. Finally, for the IRV, the base cost was 3,390,000 yen, or in today's dollars, 3,633,000 yen, or 24,970 US dollars. Obviously, the price will go up if one decided to add aero packages or other upgrades, such as shift knobs, parking sensors, utility boxes, or other equipment. Lastly, here's some extra information to round out the video. The Blit has a 70-liter fuel tank, which is quite large by today's standards. However, I think this was fairly common for Toyota at the time, as I recall that the Crowns had a 70-liter tank also. It has folding rear seats for extra storage room. It has double wishbone suspension front and rear with disc brakes, and it averages around 10.9 liters per 100 kilometers. The Blit's wheelbase is around 2,780 millimeters. This car was not sold at every Toyota dealership across Japan and could only be bought at Toyo Pet Store dealerships. The Blit was sold only in Japan and didn't make it to any other countries, and the word Blit is a German word meaning lightning. Around 2004, the Blit was given a minor facelift, including upgraded LED headlamps, LED tail lamps, and a new front grille. Since the JZX cars are well known for being good drift cars, the Blit could potentially be a really good, well-priced vehicle to get into drifting. Finally, I just really like this car. I think it's super under the radar and just a very unique and interesting wagon that can really turn heads. Anyway, that just about wraps up this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.